All right, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So yes, you heard that right, or rather you read that correctly. You are going to learn in this video how you can build up your credit score without having to take on any loans, without having to pile on any more debt, and without having to open up any new lines of credit, or at least not under your name. You see, some of the methods that I'm going to show you in this video, you're going to be able to use literally today from scratch on day one, whether you have no credit, whether you have decent credit, whether you have bad credit, or whether you have some pretty solid credit, but you're looking to get bumped up into that next level. Now, one thing that I do want to warn you of is that if you use some of these methods that I mentioned in this video, you will see a drastic increase in your credit score, and you will have bragging rights over your friends when you pull up and you tell them, look, I'm no longer a 500, I'm sitting at a 750, or I'm no longer at a 630. I was actually able to purchase my first home. I was able to get the car that I wanted right off the lot with the dream rate that I wanted, keeping it at the price, at the monthly price that I was looking to get it at. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the first way that you can dramatically increase your credit score, and really what ends up happening with your credit report, and that's going to be adding yourself as an authorized user. Now, authorized user, AU, it's really just the acronym for it, right? So if we're using AU in this video, or if you ever see that anywhere else, if you're looking at other credit videos, just know that whenever someone says authorized user or AU, they're talking about the same thing. And authorized user is just a fancy way of saying that you are allowed to be reported on someone else's credit card. Now, let's just take a really super basic scenario. Let's say that your dad or your mom, or let's say that you have a sibling, right? And for the purpose of this video, I'm not going to use the example of a tray line that you actually purchased. I want to stick along the guidelines of just a regular, old-fashioned authorized user, because with this method right here, you can see a bump anywhere between 40 to I've seen as much as 80 points. That's right, just off of one credit card. So let's say that's mom, dad, or a sibling, maybe a cousin that you trust. Obviously, it has to be someone that you trust. You ask them, hey, can I become an authorized user on your credit card? What this means is that every time that they go to report their on-time payments, this is why it's important to pick someone that you trust. Every time that they go to make their on-time payments, that on-time payment is going to reflect and it's going to report on your credit. So let's say that they have an American Express, or let's say that they have a Chase. Well, guess what's going to get reported over on your end, right? You're going to get the history of that. So let's say if they've been making on-time payments, some credit cards, not all of them, but some credit cards will backtrack and they will report the entire, let's say, time that they've had that credit card. That's a seasoned aged line. So let's say that they've had it for 5 years. Guess what's going to get reported on your end? Yeah, you might end up getting the full 5-year report. Again, this is going to vary depending on the credit card that you get added on as an authorized user. Now, one thing that you do want to obviously speak to this person about if they add you as an authorized user is they may not necessarily want you using their credit card, and that's all right, because we don't really care about using the credit card. We just want the monthly reporting on our credit card. But again, make sure that you are picking someone that's responsible, because if there's a late payment on that credit card, then you could end up getting that late payment hit on your credit report as well. Now, there are no limits to how many credit cards or how many trade lines that you can actually have reported as an authorized user. I recommend having at least 1 to 2. You can even go as high as 3, either with that same person or with 2 or 3 different people. But again, you do want to use this method with extreme caution. Now, I have some good news, because a lot of you guys have been asking me about credit repairing tools and kits, and the answer to that is yes. We have the 12-letter bundle, which is a DIY kit that you can use to help rebuild your own credit right now, doing it yourself. That is the 12-letter bundle, which you can find on the IRV official website. And keep in mind that we have some more plans and programs coming out and some more kits in the next couple of weeks. So make sure that you're subscribed here to this channel so you can hear it first, and try to check the website periodically to make sure that you're not missing any releases that you can be using whenever we have them going on sale. Now, you probably rent, right? I think the statistic is right around 110 million Americans right now are renting the property that they're living at, whether that's a townhouse, whether that's a condo, whether that's an apartment, or whether that's a single family home. But have you ever noticed that getting your rent reported on your credit is never a thing? Like, if you could actually get your rent reported onto your credit report, what would that actually do for your credit score? Well, guess what? There actually is a way for you to get your rent reported on your credit score. And here's the cool part. If you have no credit at all, you can literally go from a 0 to a 600 credit score in less than 14 days. And if you have some type of established credit, you can see an increase anywhere between 30 to 50 points. Now, the program that I'm talking about is Rental Karma. One of the reasons that I like Rental Karma is because they also have something called an ongoing reporting, meaning they themselves reach out to your landlord, they reach out to the property manager, and they check with them to see that you're still making those payments on time. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, wait a minute, how can you actually go from a 0 to a 600 credit score if you have no established credit? Or how can you see a 30 to a 50 point jump in less than 14 days, right? That sounds crazy. Well, the reason why this method works so well is because they actually go back 2 years to your rental payments history. So if they're going back and they're seeing that you've been making all of those payments on time, obviously if you weren't, then you would most likely be evicted, right? So this is why this is one of the better ways for you to build your credit, because paying rent is one of those just necessary duties that we have to do. We'll stop paying our light bill, we'll stop paying the credit card, we'll even stop paying the car before we stop paying for the roof over our heads. Now, another big reason why I really like Rental Karma is because they actually report to 2 of the 3 major credit bureaus, and they're expected that by this summer to report to all 3 major credit bureaus. That's TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Now, if you wanted full access to that, and if you had more questions about that program, then make sure to check out the link down in the description, where you can also receive a 25% off for that service by using the coupon code down at the bottom. With Rental Karma, it really is a win-win. They do all the work for you by contacting the property manager or the landlord. They don't pull your credit score. In addition to that, they do ongoing reporting. But if you maybe wanted to do all of this yourself, and if you wanted to reach out to companies yourself, then maybe this third method is for you, or maybe this is something that you can also add on to the first 2 that I've already given you, and that's by contacting any type of recurring bills that you already have. Let me explain. If you have utility bills that you're always paying on time every month, if maybe there's a water bill that you're paying on time every month, if maybe you have a cable company that you trust or that you want to call because you've been paying them on time for the last year and a half, and the funny part is if you're late and if you're late and actually making those payments with them, they're really quick to actually report you to the credit card companies. So why not take advantage of this? Now, this is going to take a little bit of work from you, but it's worth a shot, and that's this. Literally give these companies a call and say, hey, I've been making these payments on time. Let's say I've been making $100 payments on time. I've been a loyal customer for 2 years. Would you guys mind reporting these payments to the credit bureaus? Now, they could have one of 3 answers for you. They could say yes, they could say no, or they could say yes, but we will only report to TransUnion, or yes, we'll only report to Experian, or yes, we'll only report to Equifax. But guess what ends up happening with your overall credit score? It ends up getting a boost because you also start getting that history of that payment. And guess what? Again, you didn't have to open up any new lines of credit. These are bills that you already had that you had to pay anyways, so it's not like you're piling on new debts. And again, it builds more trust between you and the credit card companies, or with you and that lender when you go to apply for the house, when this reflects on your credit report. Now, a tip that I have for you here is that you can use Experian Boost to add streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, and even your cable or your utility bills. But one thing about Experian Boost is that, keep in mind, they use a different scoring model that a lender to pre-approve you for a home would use. But something that's good about using Experian Boost is that, let's say that you used it, you got a 50 or 60 point jump because it's going to be instantaneous. You can then use that to go apply for a credit card if you wanted to, again, think long term and take that route. You apply for that credit card, and then that credit card that you received from doing the Experian Boost is what ultimately reflects on what the lender is going to see. Now, last but not least, and if you've been enjoying this content, then make sure to hit that like button down below, as it does help this channel reach more people that should be getting this information, but for some reason aren't getting it because, well, schools don't necessarily teach this or want you to know. And that's going to be a secured credit card or a secured loan. Now, I know that the word is going to scare you. You heard credit card or secured credit card, and you heard a secured loan. But this is how this works, and we're only going to stick to a secured card because it's going to be one of the easier ones that you can get immediately. Let's say that you were to go to your bank right now, and again, this requires no credit checks. You go to your bank right now and you say, hey, I am trying to get a secured card. I'm trying to build my credit. What they're going to do, and again, this is going to vary by bank, but I'm going to give you a website right now that you can check that's going to help you get approved. I'd say a 98, maybe even a 99.9% approval rating. Is they are going to, let's say, ask you, okay, how much do you want to put in the card? In most instances, if you're dealing directly with your bank, it's most likely going to be a $500 secured payment or $500 secured card that they are going to take from your savings, and then they're going to issue you a card, and that's pretty much the funds that you are going to have as your credit limit. This will report on the 3 credit bureaus. So if you run up all $500, guess what? That's technically your money that you ran up. So it's actually in your best interest to pay that money back, because obviously your savings account is going to start running low. And then in addition to that, as a trade-off, we'll go ahead and report this onto your credit. That is the most layman way that we can put it to really help you understand how simple it is to open up a secured card and what it is without having to use these fancy terms and having to overcomplicate the process. You make the payments on time. Once you, let's say, wanted to graduate and then you wanted to open up another card or a full-blown unsecured card, at that point you would go ahead and get that deposit back. But guess what? You have the history that's already been reported. Now, a credit card or secured credit card that I enjoy and I think that you should at least consider is going to be OpenSky. I don't get paid a dime from them, but it has worked wonders for me and my friends. I've used that card personally, and that's why I think I've maybe recommended that card in 2, maybe even 3 of my videos, just because when I first opened it up, I think I saw a 40 to a 50 point jump after making 2 on-time payments. So there you have it. Those are 4 different ways that you can build your credit without having to get your credit checked and without having to pile on any more debt. If you found value in this content, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Join the official community. Don't forget that anytime we're not posting on here, we're posting over on the Inside with Irv show. So if you like what we have going on over here, you'll love what we have going on over there. And a lot of you guys have been asking me about credit repair letters. Well, guess what? There's good news. We already have our first credit repair product, which is our 12-letter bundle, now live on our website. You can find the link to that down in the description. We're going to start adding more products in the weeks to come. So make sure that you are continually checking here on the channel or the website, because we are going to be launching those products in the near future. Once again, I appreciate you guys watching. Until next time, everyone, I will see you in the next video.